Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. There is new content over there. Follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram. On the Instagram, he's at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the video so it gets out to the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your foes, and coming or going, hit the like button. So today we are talking week 2, day 2 of the Diddy trial in terms of there being official testimony, and I want to discuss what Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend of many years, said on the stand, y'all. And I want to forewarn y'all, any trigger warning, anybody that feels as though, you know, this is going to be too much for them to hear. There's going to be some heinous things that are going to be said per Cassie's testimony. I am giving you that trigger warning now, that space now to say, you know what, I don't know if I want to hear this, and all of the things, y'all. But let's talk about it. So the trial against Diddy on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution started on Monday, and already there are shocking claims being brought against the hip-hop mogul. As the trial against Sean Diddy Combs began in New York, on Monday, May 12th, the hip-hop mogul maintained his innocence against charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. If convicted on all charges, which also include arson and bribery, Combs could face a mandatory 15-year prison sentence with the possibility of life behind bars. As the prosecution argues coercion, the defense is countering with consent. But both sides agree in order to get to the bottom of the case, there would be a lot of witnesses and a lot of shocking details about Combs' sexual proclivities. On the second day, which is today, Cassie details viral video. Sharing her side of the viral 2016 video from the Intercontinental Hotel, Cassie Ventura said that what was seen on the video is what happened after she tried to leave a freak off before it was over, per CNN. She said that it got violent and I chose to leave. As seen in the video, Combs followed her into the hallway. He grabbed me up, threw me on the ground, kicked me, tried to drag me back to the room, took my stuff, she said on the stand. She explained that this freak-off, which occurred on March 5th, 2016, was the same day as her first movie premiere, and that she didn't want to compromise herself before that. I'm not sure what happened, but I got hit by Sean, and I had a black eye, and that at that point, all I could think about was getting out of there safely, she recalled on the stand. I had my premiere, I didn't want to mess it up, so I left. She said that the escort seen by security was in a separate room from where she was allegedly hit. She said that she fled the room while Combs was still in the shower, putting her shoes in her bag because it was faster. When asked by the prosecution how many other times Combs had beat her, Ventura replied, "Too many to count, I don't know." Earlier in her testimony, she said that Combs, I didn't want him to be upset or not trust me. He was a scary person. He would be violent. Cassie details freak-offs. Cassie Ventura told the jury that there was a similar pattern to freak-offs per CNN's reporting. It was established pretty early on, and doing the freak-offs that Sean enjoyed a lot of conversation and describing, she said of Combs. She went on to say that it generally started with oil and touching before moving on to oral sex and ultimately sexual intercourse. She said that she would often ask him if they could move into the she asked him if they could move into the next step to speed up the process. And she said that she began to record these sessions pretty early on in the first year, at first on a video camera and then later on both of their electronic devices. So basically Diddy, and that's been a long time rumor that he's always had these cameras around and always was filming stuff. She said that she would delete the ones on her devices as she found them humiliating and disgusting, and asked him to delete his as well, in part because she knew that his staff members had access to his devices. I never wanted anybody to see me like that, she testified. She said that she would use marijuana, ketamine, mushrooms, whatever the drug of choice was to that point to get through the experience. I couldn't imagine myself doing any of that without having some sort of buffer, she explained. According to her testimony, Combs would urge her to continue even if she got sick or vomited while she was on her menstrual cycle, y'all. She said that she had an escort urinate on her because it was a turn on for him and that he participated as well. So 2 men urinating on Cassie. She said it was too much. She said she had, choked, and essentially she didn't want to be doing that. She was in a position where she couldn't easily get out of it, and eventually put her hands up and saw, and Sean saw and told him to stop. That's so disturbing. So she's literally choking on the urine of these men. When asked why she didn't say no, Ventura explained, "I was so squeamish immediately, but high in the moment. That's about it. You don't have a lot of control in that moment." Ventura also explained the baby oil angle, saying that Combs was very into it. Sean wanted it heated and he wanted it to be glistening, so he applied every 5 minutes, noting that they would pour it over the bodies of everyone involved. She detailed an experience in which the Montage Beverly Hills, where they requested her to get into a pool filled of baby oil during a freak-off. If Sean wanted it to happen, that was what's going to happen. There was no way around it, she said. We used 10 bottles of baby oil, regular size. Cassie also returned to the stand after a short break before testifying that Combs tasked her with the job of finding escorts to partake in the freak-offs. She recalled having to search for men on a specific look and body type before having to show Combs for approval. She revealed that she found potential men through ads on Craigslist and Backpage through Combs' direction. I'd usually show them to Sean and see if that person was of interest for a freak-off, and I definitely had to show him. She said that she would also contact dancing or stripping services. According to the testimony, the chosen male escorts were paid between $1,500 and $6,000 at the end of the session. Combs would then give her the cash, and she gave it to the escorts. If an escort had not been used by Combs in the past, Ventura said she was required to clarify if the person was not a cop. Prosecution then showed photos of some of the escorts that had been used in the freak-offs. She then testified that some of the escorts were used in multiple states and that their travel was sometimes coordinated by her. And then the escorts were allegedly referred to as new staff members when discussing their arrangement with Combs' travel agent. Control over Cassie's career began to be control over what I was doing every minute of the day. Cassie testified. She said that Combs would constantly check on her and even assign her busy work toward projects that would never be released. I think busy work was just the way I interpreted, was just control. She testified. She said that he would have his team keeping constant tabs on her, ringing her incessantly if she didn't respond, and even sometimes send someone over to her home to check on her. She said during her time with them, she recorded hundreds of songs with only a few ever getting released. She said that her career was stifled after she signed a 10-record deal and only went on to release 1. During this time, Combs moved to Los Angeles to be closer to his kids, and so Ventura, she said she followed him west because I was in love with him and I wanted to be near with him. And she said that he paid her rent in New York and Los Angeles and held a key that he used whenever he wanted. According to Cassie, her first sexual encounter with Combs was while she was high on drugs and on a boat in Miami. She testified on court Tuesday. I was drinking wine, and then she said that she was also began to take drugs, a Blue Dolphin ecstasy pill, which she says that Combs gave her. I had never taken it before. I was just out of it laughing. I didn't know what it was until a little bit later, saying the drugs made her feel euphoric, and if she was really high, just sensitive to touch and all of your senses. She said that the relationship shifted to becoming more intimate after this, although they were not public about it, as Combs was still in a relationship with Kim Porter at the time. She also testified that Sean Combs had many girlfriends, though for a time she believed it was just her. She said that they kept it quiet because she was signed to his label because of his family. He just didn't want it to look bad, but also knew that it was because of his children and for personal things like his family. She said ultimately that she said that Combs and her were involved for a little over 10 years. drugs. She said that she went from being enamored by his personality and lavish lifestyle to more wary when she began to experience a different side of him, which was his ABUSIVE side. She said that he would experience dramatic mood swings and sometimes lash out even if she wasn't the reason he was in a bad mood, make the wrong face, and the next thing I knew I would get hit in the face. She said he would say, "Watch your mouth." She said some of the arguments would lead to physical abuse. He would smash me in my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head if I was down. She testified, answering too frequently when asked how frequently it would occur. Cassie also spoke about first meeting Combs when she was 19 years old, aspiring artist that just signed with Bad Boy Records. They signed a 10-album deal, she said, but that would only release one album in 2006. He was a larger-in-life musician, a fan of music. She didn't know too much about him personally. Things took a shift in their relationship when he kissed her in the bathroom in Las Vegas, where she was celebrating her 21st birthday. I was confused. I was a new artist that didn't understand the lay of the land and things like that. She said she didn't want to kiss him that day, citing their 17-year age gap. She wasn't used to an executive or anyone being that forward that way with me in a more than friends way, an sexual way, or a romantic way. I remember running out back to my hotel telling someone about it. She went on to testify how her relationship evolved over subsequent meetings at the Trump Hotel to discuss her career. I wanted to be around Sean for the same reasons everyone else did at the time, just this exciting, entertaining, fun guy that happens to have my career in his hands. It felt special because not a lot of people got that time with him. In these, she alleged that Combs introduced her to the idea of receiving oral sex, going so far as to give it to her, and she said she did not reciprocate. He made me feel crazy for not reciprocating at the time. I did not understand that type of relationship, and I was in a relationship with someone else. Ventura argued. Also that I was so young and did not have the vocabulary for some of the things we talked about. I was just to understand it, just completely unexperienced at that point. She also noticed that she was still in a relationship with that point, so was Combs. Considering the centerpiece of the prosecution's case against Combs, ex-girlfriend Cassie took the stand for the first time. And I'm trying to think what else. They were, again, verifying various places that they've had these different freak offs and everything else, how they would be in Las Vegas, how they would be in, Miami. They would be at all these different locations, and basically felt like this essentially was her job. And, it's just this whole thing, man. And then also, so I want to say also at the conclusion of this, the people like Tariq Nasheed and others that are trying to shame Cassie and say, oh, you stayed with him all these years, how bad it could have been, and you stayed with him a couple more years even after the hotel incident and this and that and all these things. And here is somebody giving a testimony that they have to be on all of these types of DRUGS, and that they have to be, a part of these alleged freak-offs that can last anywhere up to 4 days at a time with several different escorts. Sometimes Diddy's there, sometimes Diddy's somewhere else on FaceTime watching everything happen. And you're thinking you're young, you're impressionable, you're thinking that you're going to become a star. And you're thinking that this is going to, because at the time, y'all are acting like social media back then is what social media is now. And it is not. Y'all are acting like somebody like Cassie is going to have an idea of all the other careers at Bad Boy Records that blew up and smoked and everything else. Y'all act like Cassie had all this knowledge and everything else, that she should have been an expert, that she was 30 years old, knew what she was getting herself into and all of this and all that. No, she was very much young. She was very much impressionable. She was clearly inexperienced with a lot of things. And therefore, Diddy took advantage of that. And this is a lot of times, a lot of the reasons that some of these men, they like dating younger women, significantly younger women in situations like this, because they feel in their own way, they can mold you into whatever they want. And for all intents and purposes, Diddy treated Cassie like she was an sex toy. That was just going to do whatever he wanted, no matter how egregious, no matter how disgusting and how disturbing, and that's not okay. That is not okay in any capacity, y'all. So none of the less, y'all. I mean, prayers for Cassie, y'all. Prayers for Cassie. You know, I think I'm gonna assume, I haven't read all the updates, but I'm guessing that probably tomorrow the defense is gonna try to cross-examine her. I'm thinking that's what would happen, right? And we'll see what goes from there. But nonetheless, she is heavily pregnant with her third child, I believe, with her husband, Alex. He's standing on business because this is absolutely disgusting of what is taking place and everything else. And then there was conversations about why Diddy's kids are there, right? And initially there's the comments about people who are like, you know, why are the kids there? You know, especially the daughters. The daughters shouldn't having to be here about this. But then I had a conversation with somebody, with one of my, relatives, and they were like, well, you got to think of it from the perspective of they're not looking at this as what these allegations are and all the stuff that's being put out there. They're looking at it from the fact of how long their father has been in jail and how they've gone from seeing their father all the time to now, since their father is in jail, they don't really see him, right? They don't really see him. And you know, outside of regular phone calls or whatever else, like this is probably the most and the closest that they've been able to see him in the last almost year or so, or going on a year or so. So none of the less, this is, you know, it's more so about them being good, you being there for their dad. And then it also is, part of it is on the defense team side too, to say, look, y'all may see him as this larger than life lavish celebrity, but he also is a father. He also is a son. He is also in this and also in that. Even though we are hearing, you know, some of the most heinous and disgusting and disturbing things, right? And they weren't saying this to defend Diddy, but they were saying this from the perspective that that his kids are not going to look at Diddy through the same lens as some of us are, right? And especially his daughters, right? Because to his daughters, that's their dad, right? So nonetheless, that is where, you know, all of this kind of, and it's a catch-22, because it's like, you haven't seen your father on almost a year, right? On a regular basis. But then at the same time, you have to hear all this nasty stuff that is, I don't know. But I don't know how you can navigate that, y'all. I don't know. But I just know anybody, again, who is suffering for any type of DV, you know, there are several, hotlines, everything else to call for the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or the hotline.org, y'all. Because I definitely don't want to trigger anybody, but I just wanted to give an update on what happened day 2 of this case and just a few of my thoughts and a few of my takeaways. So there's that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.